Hello and welcome. I'm Carol Webb, the founder of Just Breathe Mama Coach, and I'm a coach for stay-at-home moms. I love helping them navigate the overwhelm to create a more manageable life and one that's filled with joy, because we all need a little bit more joy in our lives, don't we? My next guest is Sarah from Growthfully in the UK, and she loves creating gardens. She enjoys making gardens, relaxing in gardens, getting her hands in the soil. The garden is her favorite place to express her creativity, engage with nature, and find solace at times of difficulty. So welcome, Sarah. I'm very glad that you could be with us today.
Thank you for having me. That's really kind of you.
So obviously you like creating gardens. I love the entire concept of your business. I wanted to know if you could explain to the mamas watching today what it is exactly that you do.
So I help women. Essentially, they're the starting point for the people I work with. They sometimes come with our halves, but we usually start me and the mum, me and the woman.
Mm-hmm.
I help her to make the most of that precious space. We have so often we have this space outside our homes which can depress us rather than lift our spirits. And if you're looking outside your window and your heart drops and what you say to yourself is, oh, I must do something about my garden, or my garden is just could be so much better, that's a really sad situation, because those spaces are precious and we're lucky to have them, we're privileged to have them. And so I help women get clear on what it is that they want and conceive a way to use that space, and I guide them through the process of making a garden and connecting with the space. So I'm different to a garden designer who will just do it for you. Because I will work on Zoom with someone. I have a setup over there at my drawing board where I have the camera, the phone over my left shoulder, and they're watching while I'm drawing and we're talking. And so I like to really involve them in the process. Or obviously in the UK, I go to people's gardens.
Right.
But I do work with people from all over the place.
Fantastic. What is it that you did prior to becoming a gardening coach?
So I've had two careers. I've been both a garden designer in the more conventional sense, literally going into people's gardens, designing them, bringing in the landscapers, making the whole thing happen, but in a very much more I will do it for you kind of way. And I did that for more than a decade in London, in so city gardens mainly. I now live in the country, so it feels a little bit different. And then during that time, I also trained as a psychotherapist. And once I was qualified, I actually stopped designing for a while, became a psychotherapist, worked again another decade or so with clients, with women, essentially, helping, because my thing is about helping women find space for themselves in their lives. And that has come about from my own experience as a young mum and not having enough space in my life and finding myself with postnatal depression and needing to find a way to live my life that was sustaining and joyful and creative for me. And this way of working is a combination of all of that.
Okay, so that's how your business came about then. Naturally, your love for gardening and helping women turned into a business.
Yeah. So I was quite poorly about 5 years ago, coming up to 5 years ago, and found I couldn't work as a therapist anymore. I wasn't well.
Okay.
And whilst I was recovering and convalescing, the idea of bringing these two passions for gardens and garden making and women and space making together. So Growthfully came out of that.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you have a 30-minute discovery call on your website.
Yes.
What does that entail? What do people receive out of that, those 30 minutes with you?
Well, it's an opportunity to talk about yourself and your garden and what you want for yourself from your garden. And my passion is for helping women to really connect with their space, because what I believe is that a space with which we have a relationship is much easier to look after. It becomes a joy rather than a burden. We get creative out there. One thing leads to the other. I was gardening at the weekend and I started in one place and I ended up in completely a different place because one job led to another and this led to that, and it just is so what's the word?
Like that, right?
Yeah,
You release almost. Yeah, deep breath.
In, and it's just so good for us.
Yeah.
To do
the soul. We actually are creating a garden in our backyard soon. We've just put a swimming pool in. We need to create the outside. So I think I'm giving you a call. Yeah.
So the discovery call is a chance to meet, to see whether we like each other, we like each other's way of being and talking, and to get a sense of what it is that you're trying to achieve. And then from the discovery call, I'm able to say, okay, well, I think we should do the coaching, or I think we should do a clarity call, or I think I can work out and make a proposal for the next steps of working with that person after we've done a discovery call.
I was going to ask now, what programs you offered to people who do want to work with you?
Yeah. So they all start with what I call a visualization. Which you may be familiar with, that idea of closing your eyes and getting really grounded. And I take my clients through a mindfulness exercise where they start to grow roots through the bottoms of their feet and get really, really solid and settled. And then I invite them to imagine themselves in the future in their dream space and use their senses, how it feels, how it looks, what they can smell, what they can hear. And we use that information together with the information I've gathered from video and asking questions and what they've actually got to conceive a space that they're going to really, really love.
I love that.
So, it's a really beautiful way of working.
Because I don't know if a lot of people think about how they want to feel in their garden. Sure, you can pick out plants that you think are pretty, but how you want it to smell and how you want to feel, you do want to come out in your garden and just take that breath. You want to feel relaxed. You want to feel joyful.
Absolutely.
I love that. And visualizations are very strong for helping with that. They're very powerful.
Yeah. So then I invite them to do a Pinterest board. And then in my work, the way of working, the offerings kind of split into 3 different things. I have what I call a garden clarity call, which is 75 minutes. They send me information, pictures. I ask questions beforehand and we hop on Zoom together and we just do the visualization and then talk about what they've got and see what I can suggest on the spot to improve things for them. And they can check out ideas they've got and they can say, what about this corner? And I can say, yes, well, have you thought about doing X? So that's garden clarity call. 75 minutes. And that can lead into garden coaching, design. I do something called the garden experience where we have several sessions together with them perched on my shoulder, designing the actual garden, and they will send me the video, but also a plan of the space, and we will work together to design it. And then I will support them through the process of choosing a landscaper and through the process of designing the planting and just be there as a kind of literally a coach. I don't do it for you, but I answer questions and support you through the process.
Oh, that's wonderful. What is the top question that you get asked by clients? Is there a top question?
I often get asked about trees.
Okay.
I've got a tree in my garden. It's not really in the right place. I don't really like it. Is it okay to remove it? And that's very much dependent on the tree and where it is and what it is. And I do believe that there are grounds for removing a tree sometimes.
Right.
Because I think we don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah. You feel like they're in the ground now. If you take them out and you move them someplace else, are they just going to wither? I don't.
Yeah, well, you can't take a tree out and move it mostly.
Yeah.
You have to replace it with something else.
Yeah.
But if you have a tree that is blighting the space,
Mm-hmm.
then I think it's fine, and you replace it with other things and trees, and you bring in far more nature.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm cautious about it. I don't just say yes, take out your tree. I'm cautious about it. That's my most asked question.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do
Yeah.
you have can you list some of the biggest benefits that moms would receive from doing one of your programs, or even just the discovery call?
Well, the discovery call is a means to an end, really. It doesn't stand on its own as a service, because you don't pay for it. So it's a way of exploring more. But doing a garden clarity call, what you get is, well, people tell me they completely changed their mindset about the garden. So instead of thinking, I don't know what to do, I'm scared to do this, shall I do that, I can't get started, I feel blocked, they come away from that call feeling inspired and excited, and with steps to take. They know what's next, they know what's possible, they've been invigorated into a relationship with the garden in a way. I had a woman recently tell me, well, I now, nothing has actually changed out there yet, but I sit in my deck chair and I think about what I'm going to be doing, and I feel so different about it to how I felt before the call.
Changes everything. Yeah.
Changes everything.
Completely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Can you offer the mamas listening a little tip on how to get started in creating their garden, especially when they're so busy with little ones? Is there just one little tip that you could give them?
I think it starts small. So one of the things that's really supported me over the years, and in the days when I had little children, my children are grown up now, but I had I had small children too. And I think creating a pot, choosing a container that you really, really love, and placing it by the door to your home where you're going to see it a lot, or opposite a window, and actually choosing plants for it that lift your heart and that maybe have some seasonal interest. So something that lasts all year, bulbs underneath that will come up in spring. So the lasagna. Do you know about lasagna planting?
I don't actually, no.
So it's a technique for planting a pot where you put 2 or 3 different types of bulb in it.
Okay.
So you put something at the bottom like a tulip, and then you might put a daffodil, a narcissus, and you might put a little iris, and you layer them in the pot, in the soil, and then you put something on the top which is pretty for now, like violas and ivy, or maybe a little box cone shape, or something that's pretty all year round. And then you watch as the seasons happen. And at the moment, my lasagna, I've got some outside my greenhouse, has got iris is just finishing, narcissus just coming, violas, tulips, I can see them pointing. So just lots of, it's a really lovely thing to do.
I had never heard of that before.
Started.
Yeah, that's a great technique.
Yeah,
I love that.
Really nice. If you look at sarahraven.com or .co.uk, she has a little video about doing a lasagna on there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to try that.
It's really lovely. It's probably now is not the moment because you won't get the bulbs for the spring one. But if you buy the bulbs in August, that's another great tip. Write in your diary now.
Yeah.
To get bulbs ordered in August.
Okay.
And then you can plant it for next spring.
All right.
And then you enjoy it through the season.
Great idea.
And it'll come back every year.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're the bulbs.
They will repeat perennials. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
So that's a really nice thing. And then once you've done that, you might do another one. And you might do another one. And then you might think, oh, what am I going to do with that bed? But the other thing I would suggest is thinking about layout. Because one plant in a garden isn't going to make your garden lovely. So thinking about how you use the space, who uses the space, where you want to sit, where you're going to have a glass of wine in the evening, where you're going to have a cup of coffee in the morning, where's the sun, how do you want to get from one place to the other? think about layouts, think about what draws you through the space.
Okay. Oh, that's fantastic. So thank you, Sarah, for that conversation today and the information that you provided us.
My
I'm
pleasure.
just going to let the mamas out there know where we can find more information about you. Sarah's got a website, and it's growthfully.co.uk.
Yeah.
And you can also read her
on
blog.
Instagram.
Yep. Yes, she's got a beautiful Instagram account. It's at Growthfully. And she also has a podcast called My Garden, My Life, which you should take a listen to as well. But thank you again, Sarah. I loved that conversation that we just had, and learning about all that you do to help others out there feel a little bit more joyful within their gardens.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing about a garden is that personally, when I'm having a bad moment, I go outside and put my gloves on, because I don't like my nails getting muddy. If I go and pot something or sow something or dig or weed, or the mood just changes.
Yes.
It's really, really extraordinary how connecting with the soil and plants just empowers us to move through something that's difficult.
Just being out in nature, getting your hands in the dirt, right?
Yeah. So it's very healing.
Oh, well, thank you again, Sarah. And mamas, I think you should check out her IG account for sure, and her website. Thank you. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you.